Have you ever said yes when you supposed to say no? Have you ever feel drained out when someone else cross your line? Today, we are covering a very powerful topic as why we should not compromise our boundaries and how can we speak our truth. So today we are finally dwelling into episode 5, Never Compromise Your Boundaries. Whew. Wow, this is definitely a very, very sizzling topic to begin with. Okay, because I believe a lot of us are not where we're supposed to be. That's because we have allowed our boundaries to bypass our personal choices. So it's very important for us to take a deep dive into how to set healthier boundaries so that we will never fall into another lion's trap. Ooh, okay. So where should I start? I believe that before I begin, I just want to check in with everyone out there. To those who have perhaps allowed someone else to step on your head and allowed your boundaries to be a snowball. And I know it's frustrating, it's devastating, it's annoying. Why does that same toxic pattern keeps enabling over and over and over again? As we reflect back to my first episode, I say life is a choice, right? So here we are, we do have a choice for us to set healthy boundaries and never compromise, never compromise. So before we begin, this is a story that I would like to share, my own personal experiences, right? Apart from all that, everyone knew that I'm an international model, I'm a professional master of ceremony, I'm a TV host, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, you name it, jack of all trades, right? I'm also an event organizer and a project manager for events before I step into as in a talent. So meaning I work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. Right, so to begin with here, this is a personal proof to myself that never allowed anyone to step on your tail anymore. Okay, so this is what happened to me. I still remember close to 78 years ago. I have this project and I was contacted by this very famous makeup artist, and he was a fashion designer before this, Hariharan Arasu. So I was his in-house model, one of his favorite dan. And apparently he reached out to me and said, Sunshine, I need your assistant. I know that you have the contacts and you have the connection. Can you pull the strings for me? And I'm planning to come out with my Lebaran Raya fashion show. So obviously we all know Hariharan. It's always renowned in the Indian industry, Tamil industry. But here we are, he wanted to expand into the Malay market. So I was involved into the Malay market too. So what happens here, I used to run my own modeling talent event agency known as Joy Division Models Talent Event Agency, and I used to groom a lot of models, and we hosted a lot of fashion shows for a lot of top designers back then. So one of them of my clients was Hariharan, right? So what happens here is that he was lack of funding too. So he told me, Sunshine, I would appreciate if you could assist me to come out with as sponsors or perhaps funders to fund the show. So, which I did. that was one of my very strong core and forte then. And I told myself I'll never do that for anyone after since what happened to me after you listen to this story. So I bargained my time, especially for myself. What was my priorities? I did not see that. So I was going out for meetings every single day just to meet funders and sponsors. And there was one night, as you remember, this so-called royalties, okay? I'm not going to name the names, but yes, they told me, okay, we agreed to meet you. Let's meet up at Mandarin Oriental. So I went to Mandarin Oriental and I met them. We have dinner there back at Mandarin Oriental, and they wanted to carry forward back at Sultan. Back then it was known as Sultan Lounge. So we went to Sultan Lounge and we party, right? See, I forgot my objectives. My main objectives was to go there, meet them, and talk to them about receiving the sponsors, which I did. I spoke to them. But what happens here is that they used me. Okay, they took me as an energizer bunny, and apart from that, I was an entertainer. Everyone knows me. I'm always bubbly. I'm always happy. I'm always cheerful. So this is one of my X factors. It's my USP, you can say that, right? USP, which is my unique selling point. So it was used against me after that because I never knew how to set my own clear, healthy boundaries. And I compromised my boundaries. I could have said no because the following day in the morning, I told them I have an early call time with Melinda Louis, which is one of the Raya shows. And this was kind of unique. 6 a.m. Our call time was at Zoo Nagara. And I was one of her models, one of her favorites too, I would say. But let me just tell you that I blew this for myself. I could have just not compromised my boundaries by saying no to that royalty couples and say that no, I have to go back early. I'm so sorry, I cannot continue to party with you. I have to leave. The reason why I did that because I thought they will helping me to fund and support me for 20,000, right? For the whole entire show, at least I can get some funds and ease Hari Haran's burden for the models. But it was almost close to 4:30 a.m. I was pissed drunk at the time. You know, obviously they have all the money to open up champagne bottles after champagne. And I was so tipsy, I was crawling back towards my home. As you remember that, like, oh, my head was spinning, right? Because I have champagne and I have plenty of them, not just one, not just two. I think I have about 5 to 6 bottles and I puke. I was not well. Knowing that 6 a.m. I have a call time for Melinda Louis' fashion show, I took it for granted. I never set clear boundaries for myself within those people that are supposed to work professionally. I thought like maybe perhaps when I give them my time, I loan them my time, they will appreciate me as an individual and I'll be easier to receive the fundings as per discussed. But that did not happen. All right, so I went back, was very disappointed. Obviously, I overslept. I woke up close to almost 7, right? I was supposed to be there 6 a.m., 7 a.m. was not there. Melinda Louis' assistant was calling me, where are you, Sunshine? Why are you not here? Because I was one of the first few models, you know, to walk. So meaning that all the names have been listed down. Always have to get our hair done, our makeup done, and our manicure and pedicure, because one thing about her fashion shows are very unique. It has her signature there. But unfortunately, because of all that activities that was going on day before without me setting clear boundaries with the royalty couples, I ended up drowning myself until 7 a.m. in the morning. I woke up. I still remember I was having a panic attack, anxiety kicked in. I was like, oh no, I'm late, I'm so worried right now. And they keep calling me non-stop, keep calling me. Like, where are you, why are you not here? You know, Melinda is so pissed at you, she's so mad at you. You better come soon right now, you know? Like, I was like, okay, I'm coming soon. I quickly get ready. I was staying back with my mom back then, so meaning I was back in Sri Gombak. So Sri Gombak to the zoo was not that far, but it was in the morning, so meaning it was hard for me to get a Grab because I traveled by Grab back then, right? So and Uber, right? It was hard for me to get an Uber. And it was in the morning. It was pit time, and by the time I left my place and I reached there, it was close to 10 a.m. Okay, the fashion show was in the noon, no doubt. But the whole entire process, because she has close to 30 models, so all the models have to be there earlier to get their rehearsals, to get the makeup done, to get their hair done, to have breakfast, for her to have briefing, what she needs us, how she wants us to express ourselves while doing our catwalk for her show, because there will be a lot of medias over there. And yes, I took that all for granted. By the time I arrived there, she was very pissed. She looked at me in front of everyone. She shouted at me. She's like, "You have no discipline at all, Sunshine. I'm very disappointed with you. This is going to be the last show you are with me. Go in and get ready right now." So I went inside and I got ready, but I was very disappointed and sad. Because while I was getting ready, I was reaching out to those Roy couples and asking them that, so are you going to assist me to fund? As we spoke yesterday, you say that yes, we will. We will consider about it. So I was very excited wanting to hear for some positive remarks. But nope, that did not happen. They said, why don't you come out tonight and party with us? Then we can decide then. I was like so pissed. I told them, no, listen, I've jeopardized one of my job over here. This is one of the top designers I'm working with here. And apart from that, you all have made me like a fool. I didn't say that to them, but this initially was inside of me, and this is what I felt then, okay? And with all that said and done, let me just tell you that I want you to really see clearly what was my mistakes over here, because of no healthy boundaries I set for myself, between myself, and I compromise my boundaries with those toxic people, right? And apart from that, I prayed really hard because the fashion show was drawing really closely for Hari. But I knew down, prayed for 2 hours, and my mom saw me, and I cried to God and said, God, please help me here. I don't know what to do. We're drawing closer to the fashion show. We have all the models on hold, and apparently Hari did not have the funds to pay the models. So we have come to an agreement of a collaborations that I will handle comes to the models for the fundings and so forth. And finally, I was very grateful that was a very kind soul who is a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, Dato Baldev. He was our main sponsors. He came and he sponsored the fashion show, especially for the models. So all 20 heads of models were paid 500 ringgit without any negotiable. And finally, God answered my prayers. But what happens here is that my reputation with Melinda Lui till this very day, if she sees me, she'll give me a stare. Because ever since that one incident that have led me for not being clearly disciplined of my personal needs. So what's boundaries? Boundaries are limited rules we set for ourselves in relationships, work, friends, family, in personal life to protect our well-being, energy, and most of all, our emotional health. You see, this defines what is acceptable and what is not in how others treat us and how we treat ourselves. It's so important to know the differences, okay? And it's non-negotiable because this is your personal belongings. This is your personal needs. This is your personal growth. You cannot negotiate those personal needs for yourself because it's essentials. Just imagine that everyone is taking away, is stealing everything from you without knowing. They're stealing your energy. So that's what happened to me, right? So what happens when we don't set clear boundaries? So when I sat down again and finally I reflect and I told myself, I asked God, what should I share with my peers, with my audience? And he said that this was the story, and I thought of that. This is a great story for me to share with everyone. And here are what happens. Five causes of what happens when we don't set clear boundaries. So when we don't set clear boundaries, we intend to burn out. Exhaustion kicks in, you see, consistently saying yes, yes to everyone that drains our soul and our energy, our time, period. Gosh. So please be very, very wise, okay? If you don't want to be burnt out, or perhaps you don't want to feel exhausted, you must choose to say no. Okay, so resentment and frustration. What happens to me? Yes, I did have some resentment back then, frustration after what incident happened. I felt that I was taken advantages. I felt I was unheard because when I tried to explain to Melinda, Louis, and she's like, no, I don't want to hear all these excuses. Listen, what was your call time? 6 a.m. You have been confirmed and you knew that you have worked. Why you went out a day before? But she did not know I was also working back then for another project. But when I tried to explain to her, she's like, no, I don't want to hear any single thing. No excuses. So I was unheard. And I felt that resentment towards those royalty couples because they take advantage on me, which they did. They took advantage of my time, my kindness, my beauty, my energy. And I did not see it back then, but now these days I'm clearly aware. So I'm aware of all these lessons that I've learned and I never want to repeat them anymore. Number 3, toxic patterns. Attracting people who overstep or manipulate. So toxic patterns, why does it repeat over and over again without our self-realizing? Why do we have friends back then that constantly, hey, come, let's go for drinks after drinks after drinks, or hey, come, let's go for a smoke, or smokes after smokes, and that's never ending until by that next day you realize, oh gosh, it's 6 a.m. in the morning and we are sleeping during that time and waking up in the noon. So how many times that we need to repeat the same cycles in order for us to realize that this is wrong? This is not how we are investing our time fruitfully. So that's where I told myself, I step out. I'd rather not have these friends. I'd rather detach myself from these friends, from this situation, so that I would not need to repeat the same toxic patterns. Okay? Vice versa. So I do not keep in touch with these royal couples anymore. I totally detached myself from them because I told them ever since that they really humiliate me because I have to keep my word. I have no answers to come back to Hari Haran then, right? So lack of self-respect. So let me just tell you that totally lack of self-respect for myself then. I could have just said no to them instead of compromising. Like, could I say no, tomorrow I have an early day show. Okay, this is where you can have dinner right now. Why don't you go back and consider what I shared with you and come back tomorrow and let me know. But no, because of the thrill too, I wanted to win their hearts. I wanted to impress them. But I forgot the fact that the first person that I need to win, the first person that I need to impress, the first person that I needed to respect was myself. So I was lack of self-respect. So how do you expect others to respect you when you don't even respect yourself? So I realized the fact that they did not respect me. They did not respect my time. They did not respect what I shared with them. They did not respect my effort for being there with them, to party with them, to dust and more dawn, gosh, to drink my lungs off. And yet they still wanted me to continuously do that to them. And obviously, they have all the loads of money in their bank account. They are secure, but not me. Where do I stand? I forgot to ask myself that. Okay? So there was lack of self-respect for myself, definitely. And that's why now these days I invest my time very, very wisely. I don't hang out with people these days. Every day I hang out at home, just be to myself, stay grounded to myself, be with my cat, spend time with my family once in a while. There you go. Read a few good books. And if I need to go out, it's for work purpose. If I need to associate, it's mostly that I felt that I'm comfortable with this person. I felt that they have no nonsense and no dramas. That is my first thing. Okay? Emotional instability. So what happens with that? Let me just tell you that. I'm always gracefully doing a show, okay? But that time was very sad when Melinda Louise said, this is going to be a last show. And she meant it. So I was very emotionally unstable. Anxiety kicked in, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said that loudly in front of everyone. All the models started coming over and asking. Some of them were like laughing at me behind my back. The ones that don't like me, the ones that care for me came and asked me, Sunshine, are you okay? And I was suffering from a horrible migraine down. I was hangover. And I still smelled myself with breath. The alcohol was like, it was still coming out from my breath. And I was very disappointed myself. Very disappointed myself, I would say that. So emotionally unstable during that time, obviously. Okay? So apart from all that, here are 5 actionable steps to set and protect your boundaries. I could have done it then, but now I can't. So what happens over here, I learn to recognize my limits, knowing what I'm comfortable and what I'm not. So you must know to recognize your limits, okay? Always. Okay, this is how I can do it here. I'm so sorry, I can't do this because this is beyond my boundaries, okay? So you have to be very clear with your limits. So what comes with clear limits? Communication. So communicate to another individual. Communicate your limits, okay? No. It's a complete sentence. No, it's a complete sentence. You don't need to explain further. When a person needs you to explain more, that means they are coming from a place of wounds and insecurities. So you can just say, no, I'm not free tomorrow. I hope you understand that. Okay? Then stand firm. Stand very firm. Don't let guilt sway you. Now these days, I don't feel guilty at all. Okay? Like, I understand there are some friends from my past, they expect me, oh, so you don't appreciate our friendship anymore? How can you call yourself friends? Blah, 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 blah. You don't come for me. And I was like, listen, every day is a friendship day as long as you have good intentions for me. Like, example, I don't need to meet you, but if I have good intentions, I want to see you successful. I want to see you reaching out, reaching for the stars. That is coming from a place of true friendships, not like meeting every day, but yet my intention towards you is that I'm not happy for you because you are brighter than me, or you are more famous than me, or you're prettier than me. We don't need that. We don't need that. So when you learn to stand firm, unwavering, stand firm, okay? Do not feel guilty about that. Even a person try to guilt trip you, it's fine, let them be. There you go. They're coming from a place out of fear and wounds. Okay? That's why they're never satisfied with their life. Removing toxic influences. That's what I did immediately. I'm so happy and peaceful right now, thank God. Really, really. God showed me so much. Like, I come into my sense. Finally, I woke up many times after many deaths. Okay? I have so many ego deaths. I have death, like almost close to death, really dead. Okay, I was homeless. I slept before, right out on the ground before. No one knows that. Did anyone care for me? Was there another helping hand to help me out? No. Those friends were so-called call my friends and were there to appear for my birthday just to make me drunk or just to make me feel intoxicated. Is that all? Or just to enjoy my happiness or my energy that was so contagious? I don't need that anymore. Trust me, I don't need that. Okay, I only trust one, is the man above itself. That's no other person I can trust, which is God. So I choose to remove toxic influences. So some people test you. They will still test you to this day, but you must stay very grounded and strong within your principalities. Never negotiate, okay, your principles, because this is your principles. This is where I stand. If you can be friends with me, if you want to stay friends with me, these are my principles and my boundaries. Simple, period. Self-care and self-respect. So here you go. 5 actionable steps to set and protect boundaries, okay? Self-care and self-respect. So boundaries is a form of self-love. If you know how to love yourself and you don't want yourself to be violated anymore, you don't want yourself to be taken for granted anymore in the society, okay, with your friends, with your family. Let me just tell you that boundaries, set healthy boundaries, say clearly. Just say that, oh, I don't have money right now. I would appreciate it if you could loan me some money. And if you can't within your means, because you've done that before, and obviously you never get your money back in return, even in, regardless how big an amount it is or how small an amount, your hard work money. But sometimes people don't keep their promises. So there you go. Just let it be. Detach yourself from these toxic influences. You don't need that. Set healthy boundaries for yourself clearly. Okay? So I'm coming close to an end. I told myself that nowadays I want to just have a 30 minutes of a podcast, so we'll be shortening up the period so at least everyone can tune in and hear my story and reflect back and never repeat back the same mistakes when I did. So it's time for you right now to reinforce. I want you to think back, reinforce the importance of boundaries, your peace, your power, and your self-worth is non-negotiable. Your peace, your power, and your self-worth is non-negotiable. So when you set boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. So yes, I want you to go back where you at right now. Sit down in this quiet place if you need to, or perhaps, walk in the nature, sit on a bench, and clearly the next day of any time, or you can actually be in your space, on your bed, or on your study desk. What boundary, just one boundary, what one boundary that you need to set for yourself today? Okay? It does not matter, but write that down. If you have a journal, that's journaling. If you can write that down on a piece of paper, write it down right now. If continuously you're feeling burnout and you feel that you're neglected, you feel that you've been taken advantage of, you feel like, oh, you've been betrayed, you've been hurt so badly, many people are throwing stones and stomping your peace, this is one thing you need to clearly do for yourself right now. Sit down, write down on a piece of paper what you need to reflect today, what one boundary that you need to set for yourself. So with that, thank you so much for joining here with me, Positive Thrive with Sunshine. I'll see you in the next episode 6. Enjoy! Feel free to share your comments, and it's important for you to also let me know what are topics you are comfortable, communicate with me. Don't worry, don't be a stranger. We are forming a community which is Thrive Tribe. So we thrive together. If you have anything in your mind that you would like me to share, please feel free to drop it in the comment box. And yes, do subscribe to my channel, to like, share, and save this to another soul where we can continue to rescue and restore their soul in the most almighty name. Glory to be God. Thank you so much. Till then, signing out. Sunshine.